Hey, this is Jennifer McGuire for twopeasinabucket.com. I'm going to talk about Ranger's alcohol inks. Now, this is video 1 of 2 for today's project, so be sure after watching this one to go to video 2. I just couldn't squeeze it all into one video. So here are some cards I kept really simple so you can see some alcohol inked backgrounds. I'm going to show you many different techniques, things that you can do. There's really no way to do this wrong, so there's a lot that you can do. Here are just some samples of ones that I've done. I'm going to show you several of these in this video and show you several others in the next video. So be sure to watch both of them. There's a lot that you can do with alcohol inks. They are specially designed to work with non-porous surfaces such as glossy paper or metal or acetate, anything like that. So for these kind of backgrounds I'm going to show you on glossy paper, you're going to need these Adirondack alcohol inks. They come in a bazillion different colors. I think there's 28 maybe, and there's an earth tone, lights, and bright shade that go together of the same color. And then these are the mixatives. They are pearl and copper, different ones like that add a little bit of metallic fun to the project. So you can use all these together to create some really interesting backgrounds. Now this is one of those techniques that you got to do because there's so many fun things and the effect is really neat. You use the inking tool from Ranger and you put the felt pieces on. Now the felt is very important. Don't use the foam from that we usually use for distress ink blending, but you want to use the felt. Now this is Ranger's glossy paper. I like their glossy paper the best. It works really well with this technique and it's not very expensive, so it's great. And you need some alcohol ink blending solution. That comes in this bigger jar or bigger bottle like this. There's a lot of things you can do with this and it's almost a necessity for these techniques. Then you need some sort of rag. I like to cut up old t-shirts that have holes in them, and you need your craft sheet from Ranger. It's something that will protect your work surface because these alcohol inks will stain. Okay, so let's get started with some basics. The first card here shows the background with using alcohol inks on glossy paper. I mix some blues and greens. That's my favorite color combination, but you can do any color combination you'd like. So I'm going to start with a few different shades of green. I think I have meadow and willow, or mellow and lettuce, and then also a blue, which is stream. And I'm going to use this pearl fixatives or mixative so that I can mix it together and have a little shine. So you take the alcohol ink and you touch it, the tip, right to the felt and squeeze. I think Tim Holtz says to do a 2-second squeeze. I mix it up. Sometimes I do longer, sometimes I do shorter, depending on how much of that color I want. So I'm just going to put these dabs right onto the felt. You can put them close together, far apart, really doesn't matter. The more you play with it, the more you'll get an idea of the different effects you can get by applying it in different ways. So this is the pearl mixative, and you want to make sure that you shake that really good before you use it. It's got a mixing ball in it. Okay, so there you can see the ink applied to the felt, and now you're just going to dab and swirl and pat or whatever you want to do to apply this ink directly onto your glossy paper. Now if you watch closely, you can see the ink starting to move around as they work together. Now I'm going to go put some blending solution right onto that same felt pad, and watch closely. You can see the blending solution helps to move it around. Blending solution kind of dilutes, removes, and blends inks. So here I tried to tilt it in the light so you could see some of the copper and pearl that I ended up adding to that layer. So now here's a little tip for cleaning up. Again, I said blending solution removes. So one way to clean up your craft mat is to squirt some blending solution onto it and just rub it around. And it'll come off very easily. But if you'd like to conserve your blending solution, you can also use Hero Arts Ultra Clean, which I didn't figure out until the end of shooting this video. Otherwise, I would have used it all along the way. That's the same ink I use for stamps, by the way. Or same, cleaning solution that I use for stamps. Now this next one, I just wanted to show you how these alcohol inks can be done to create really bright backgrounds. I know sometimes people think of Ranger and their distress lines and think that it means browns and deep colors, but really they have a huge amount of colors that can have ranges in anybody's style. And by the way, if you notice, I got some of this on my hand, and it will stain, but you can use a little bit of the blending solution to get it off. Okay, so you can see I'm putting lots of different shades of pink. I think I'd used 3 different shades, and then I used some copper. And that I'm just decided to go ahead and put some blending solution on it right from the get-go. So watch as it all kind of moves around and it slowly moves and works together. Now you can keep going back over and over the colors until you get what you want. And if you aren't real thrilled with it, you can just keep adding more color. You can even wipe some of it away with the blending solution. Here I'm putting the blending solution right onto the ink, and you can see it just start to move around and blend there. It actually pushes whatever metallic mixative you have towards the edges of the puddle. So there's the final results with that one. Thought I'd show you another. This one's blue, different shades of blue, and I think this is great for a sky. So I'm putting some small drops of denim alcohol ink here, and I'm going to put a little bit of sailor blue. That's really bright, so I don't want too much of that. And then I wanted it to be a little bit softer, so I'm going to put a ton of the cloudy blue ink on there. So you can kind of balance how light or dark something gets. And of course, you can mix colors. You can mix like a caramel with a stream blue with a red and get unique backgrounds. But I tend to always like the tone-on-tone kind of monochromatic backgrounds. So that's why you see me using a lot of different shades of the same color together. But by all means, you can mix anything together that you want. Now, this is how I usually use alcohol inks. I cut a bunch of pieces at once so that I have I can make lots of backgrounds all at once, and then I can have them all in hand. Makes it fun. And here I'm adding some more blending solution so that it mixes a little bit better. Again, you really can't go wrong with how you apply all these. And there's the blue card. Next, I wanted to show you how you can make a really light card. And that you can see that marbling there, that look of marble that's created by the copper. With this one, I'm going to put lots of this light salmon colored alcohol ink. Put lots of it on there. And now I'm going to put some pearl on here, I think. Yep, I'm going to put lots of pearl on there. Usually you only need a tiny little drop, but I wanted to have it really shiny, so I put a lot of pearl on there. And then some blending solution, and now I'm just going to blend away. Then I decided it needed a little bit of copper, so I put some copper on there with some more blending solution. You can see it moving around. And those puddles, the edges of those puddles, build up the copper, which gives that marble look. It's really neat. And so you can see it there. Now I thought I'd also show you how you can stamp on these, particularly this one on the right. I used a Hero Art stamp. This is one of Hero Art's newer background stamps, and I'm going to create a green background for this. And now I did this one, and I decided it was too light, so I'm going back and putting a lot of darker alcohol ink onto my application tool here, and I'm just going to add darker ink. And so you can, if you aren't real happy with the results at first, you can add more color, add darker color or lighter color or more blending solution. You can really change it up. So really, if you end up with results that you're not happy with, you just keep working on it and you'll end up with something that you like. And so I'm just going to go blend it up real good here. And when you want to add stamping, you want to make sure that it dries completely. It doesn't take long for these alcohol inks to dry. So you just set it aside for a few minutes and then you can add the stamping. Now when you do stamping, you want to use an ink that will stay put on a glossy surface. So I like to use this archival ink, archival black ink from Ranger, but you can also use StazOn, which is another popular ink for glossy surfaces. So I'm just going to stamp this right on here. And you can see once I remove the stamp that, sorry I don't have a label, this was a prototype stamp, but it is now available. Anyways, once you've stamped on it, just give it some time to dry because that ink will stay sticky. And you can see how with just combining the stamp and the alcohol inked background, you've got an awesome card front here. You could just stick this to a card with some flowers and be ready. And you can see the copper swirled in the background here with the light hitting it at the right angle. And now I wanted to show you some more stamping. People always ask how you can line up stamps on a background. I've got this small Hero Art stamp that is a great one for all different styles. I always start on the bottom left corner and I work my way up. This way I can get down close to the table and see where I need to position next. If I started at the top, it'd be harder to look and line up. So I always start at the bottom left, and it always seems to work out much easier that way. So you can see some of those stamped butterflies on this card too. Now be sure to go and watch the next video for today's class, for today's Thinking Inking class, and you'll see some more unique techniques that you can do with backgrounds and alcohol inks. Thanks for watching and see you again soon.